Sunday, day 10.
The coolest thing was last night. We were at Buffalo Gap National Grasslands in just outside of the Badlands, camping on BLM land, and these, what do they call it? I forgot. Longhorn sheep.
Longhorn sheep came up to say hello to us.
They didn't come near us, but they were like right close to us and everything, and they just ate their grass and, you know, they weren't afraid of people. It was really amazing.
And the highlight of the visit of the Longhorn sheep to us was two of them were having a little bit of an argument. And if you check out our Facebook page this morning, you'll see a photograph of them locking horns right in front of us. It was something really interesting to watch.
It's very cool. Very cool.
And after they're done butting heads, they walked up and shared a flower together, eating the prairie flowers there. I gotta tell you, the dispersed camping outside of the Badlands National Park was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's all part of the Buffalo Gap National Grasslands. And Traveling Robin had told us about this, showed it on his video on his recent trip there, and it was everything he said it was. Now we're headed to Montana. I don't know that we'll get there today. As we've said all along, we're not pressed really for time. We're trying to keep a reasonable schedule. And if I feel up to it, we're going to be in Montana in about an hour and a half. If not, we'll spend the night here in Wyoming, as Jane always says.
Oh, the adventure continues. I'm sorry. Those days out a little bit there for a minute. Okay.
How was you trying to include them in this cover?
Well, I saw a sign for Dead Horse Creek, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that has anything to do with Dead Horse State Park. But that was in Colorado, I think, or Utah.
That was in Utah.
Yeah, so it wasn't. So the Dead Horse River or Creek must run into a creek river that goes to there.
And that's another story we'll share eventually, because we've got a lot of episodes coming up over the next year, believe me. So keep watching my channel, and I want to say thanks to those who have subscribed. We hit the magic 500 last night, and we do need more of you, and we need more of you to watch our videos so we can keep creating this kind of content.
In 2020, we celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. To commemorate this, we decided that we would travel to all 50 United States in our 2018 Freedom Elite Class C motorhome. Well, 49 states anyway, as we took a plane to Hawaii. Well, we completed our journey in 2022 when we drove from Florida to Alaska. You would think we had had enough travels. Wrong. In 2024, we set out to do it again. Join us as we embark on another journey to the last frontier. Join us for Alaska 2.0. Well, it's time for us to get back on the road to Alaska. But we have more points of interest in the Black Hills of South Dakota to show you. So we continue our drive west on Interstate 90 and turn south at Rapid City to check on the progress of the enormous Crazy Horse Memorial, which we first visited back in 1973. It's been under construction since 1948. And its completion is estimated by some to be in the late 23rd century. 17 miles north of the Crazy Horse Memorial, we stop off at the Mount Rushmore Memorial, where we are greeted by none other than President Teddy Roosevelt. We are treated to a sight few get to see. Rock climbers on the heads of the monument, inspecting it for any deterioration and any necessary maintenance it might need. It's reminiscent of the exciting scenes for the motion picture North by Northwest. After our visit to Mount Rushmore, we take a drive on the Needles Highway, which is one of the most scenic drives in the United States. Located in the Black Hills, it's part of the Custer State Park, and its name comes from the sharp, needle-like granite spires that rise dramatically from the landscape. What makes Needles Highway particularly unique are the narrow tunnels you see carved through the rock, as well as the winding, twisting roads that make the drive feel like an adventure in itself. The needles refer to the spire-like formations of granite, which were formed over millions of years as erosion wore away softer rock, leaving behind these jagged, needle-shaped peaks. We continue north to the historic Wild West gold rush town of Deadwood. It's nestled in the Black Hills, surrounded by dense forest and rugged terrain, and is known for its rich mining history, colorful characters, and its role in the early days of the American frontier. Its origins date back to the gold rush of 1876. The discovery of gold in the nearby hills brought a rush of miners and fortune seekers to the area, and the town quickly grew into a rowdy, lawless frontier settlement. The town gained fame not only for its gold, but also for the infamous characters who walked its streets, like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. After previously making 3 trips out west, especially into the Black Hills area, we finally fulfilled a bucket list item by visiting Devil's Tower in northeastern Wyoming. Located some 30 miles north of Interstate 90, it is completely off the western travel track we usually take. But this time we ventured off our usual western route and visited this, our nation's very first national monument. It's a massive rock formation that rises abruptly from the surrounding plains with its unique, almost otherworldly appearance. Standing at 867 feet above the surrounding terrain, it has been a sacred site for Native American tribes for centuries and was also the first national monument ever established by President Theodore Roosevelt in 1906. Jane and I hiked the 1.5-mile loop trail around the tower and got to see the geological wonder from all sides. We even came across a rather large timber rattlesnake who was not happy at our presence. I snapped a photo and moved along out of his way. Shortly after, I noticed some climbers way up on the face of the rock tower and took some photos as I marveled at their stamina and bravado as they ventured higher and higher. Later that day, I informed the park ranger that I had some photos for the climbers if he happened to see them when they came down. He did, and gave them my contact information. The gentleman climbing the mountain contacted me, and I gladly emailed him the photos, as we quickly became friends on social media. His name is Mike Mallet, and the young lady making the climb with him was his friend Yvonne. Talk about a small world. Mike is a friend of one of my friends here in Florida, Jerry, and we recently got to meet Mike face to face on his visit to see Jerry. We stopped last night at the Cracker Barrel in Billings, Montana. We had stayed there on our 2020 Alaska journey and found it to be a very accommodating place for a stopover. Going forward towards the Canadian border, we decided to take a less used route rather than Interstate 15 north from Billings. Starting out on Montana Route 3 past Logan Airport, we paused to appreciate the incredible view from Overlook Road. This route takes us through the vast grasslands and farming communities of Lavina, Rygate, Shawmut, Harleton, and Judith Gap. The 2-lane roadway is excellent with hardly any traffic on it, and provides us a
At the
rather
end of the
scenic,
street,
relaxing
turn
drive
left.
to Great Falls, some 225 miles away. Our first stop in Great Falls was to the Walmart, where we had to have the battery in Equinox replaced under warranty, as it wasn't holding a charge and was causing us delays to recharge it intermittently. Next, we set up camp at the Great Falls RV Park on 11th Street. Good Sam rated, it has full hookups, a small store, and a laundromat, all for $60 a night. We left the campground and drove north across town to the 14-mile-long Ryan's Dam Road to view the massive dam and park. Ryan Dam is a hydroelectric dam on the Missouri River, 10 miles downstream from the city of Great Falls. The dam is built on the largest of the 5 Great Falls of the Missouri, the Big Falls, also sometimes called Great Falls. Since 1915, the 6-unit powerhouse on the right side of the dam has occupied a significant portion of the 87-foot-high waterfall. The dam was built just upstream of the falls on a small island named Ryan Island. On the right side of the dam is a concrete arch spillway structure that, when functioning, releases water over the remains of the waterfall. The center part of the dam consists of a dike that extends from the fall's base to Ryan Island. A cable suspension bridge provides the only access to Ryan's Island and the best possible view of the dam.
I was very nervous about walking over this cable-suspended bridge to Ryan Island. It was swaying and bouncy as I walked across. But I made it, and I'm glad I did, as the park on the other end of the bridge was gorgeous and very well maintained. A small structure housed a display that was then a controversial way of cooking back in the late 1800s, the electric stove, brought about by the electricity now available from this enormous hydroelectric dam.
We are at the Great Falls at Ryan's Dam. Lewis and Clark first found them back in 1805. And Clark measured them and he was only 1 foot off. And that was like 220 years ago. Amazing.
Great Falls is named for a series of 5 waterfalls located on the Missouri River, north and east of the city. The Lewis and Clark expedition of 1805 was forced to portage around a 10-mile stretch of the river in order to bypass the falls. The company spent 31 days in the area performing arduous labor to make the portage. 3 of the waterfalls, known as Black Eagle, Rainbow, and the Great Falls, or Big Falls, are among the sites of 5 hydroelectric dams in the area, giving the city its moniker, the Electric City. Seen here is the Great Falls Black Eagle Dam, the first hydroelectric dam built in Montana. Up next, we drive back across town to visit the Malmstrom Airpark and Museum, located within the Malmstrom Air Force Base, home of the 341st Missile Wing. The Museum Airpark has several aircraft on display. The LGM-30 Minuteman, an American land-based intercontinental ballistic missile. Malmstrom Air Force Base enjoys a varied and storied past, beginning with its construction in 1942, hosting as a heavy bomber training base, later used to establish an air route between Great Falls and Ladd Field in Fairbanks, Alaska, as part of the United States Lend-Lease program that supplied the Soviet Union with aircraft and supplies needed to fight the German Army. The Bell UH-1 Iroquois, nicknamed the Huey, a utility military helicopter. The base enjoyed a wide variety of aircraft, including heavy bombers, fighter aircraft, and air refueling aircraft. As such, it hosts an elaborate air park and museum that chronicles the Malmstrom Air Force Base and its ongoing defense mission. The Republic F-84F Thunderstreak, an American swept-wing turbojet-powered fighter bomber. The Boeing KC-97 Stratofreighter, a 4-engine, piston-powered United States strategic tanker aircraft. The Martin B-57 Canberra, an American-built twin-engine tactical bomber and reconnaissance aircraft. The North American B-25 Mitchell, an American medium bomber. The B-25 found fame as the bomber used in the Doolittle raid, in which 15 B-25Bs, led by Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, attacked mainland Japan 4 months after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
Want to launch them, but they need to work to perform as a deterrent. So the idea is it creates some fear for our adversaries that if they were to attack us, they would receive these. So we do our jobs to make sure they're safe, secure, reliable, and controllable, and will perform as advertised within 60 seconds every single day, 24/7, 365. So these missiles, when I say they're on alert, they're not on base. There's actually 150 launch facilities spread out across 13,800 square miles of Montana. Minot Air Force Base, Minot, North Dakota has the same numbers, and Francis C. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming has the same numbers. So we have a total of 450 silos, generically. We call them launch facilities, where there's potentially a Minuteman III missile. And we maintain better than 99% of 400 missiles on alert 24/7, 365. So that means they're ready to go right now within 60 seconds. And it's going to start off out at a launch control center, which is this giant 3-foot thick concrete and rebar bubble of 4 or more stories underground at a missile alert facility. So we have 15 missile alert facilities. Each one oversees 10 launch facilities, generically known as silos. It's a support and operations hub. It's like a forward operating base. And so a few more stories underground is the launch control center. That capsule with a steel box about the size of a freight train, rail car suspended in it, with equipment kind of like the stuff over my shoulder here. Looks just as good today as it did in the 60s and 70s. It has been through a lot of upgrades and updates, but most by necessity. It's the idea is safety, security, reliability, and controllability. And if it's doing that, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, comes to mind. So, launch control center where there's never less than 2 launch control officers. We call them missileers for short. But these launch control officers, they're monitoring the status of their launch facilities and any missiles that might be on alert. They would be the ones to receive the orders from higher headquarters, President, Secretary of Defense, down through the Nuclear Command and Control and Communication Systems and the Strategic Command. So they would receive their emergency action message, validated, authenticated, match it. If everything matches, then they start running their process to send their launch vote to the missile. They call it a vote. Missile requires 2. So even those 2 launch control officers alone are not launching their missiles. There's a lot of safeguards and redundancies built into the process.
Besides the outdoor airpark, the museum hosts one of the largest collections of model Air Force aircraft in the world. The museum chronicles the history of every mission at the Malmstrom Air Force Base, as well as a large exhibit regarding the current Minuteman missile mission. The history of this base began when it was the Great Falls Army Air Base and continues to this day. Exhibits include details about the Berlin Airlift, the Lewis and Clark Expedition, and the United States Strategic Air Defense Command. We hope you enjoyed this episode and invite your comments in the space below. And please, like and subscribe. It really helps us to continue presenting content such as this. We hope you join us for our next episode, crossing the Canadian border on Jane and Steve's Golden Anniversary Adventure, The Road to Alaska 2.0.